Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Welcome. We're so glad you're here. We hope you take a deep breath in of all the warm love and light that's present for you and for all of humanity. It's my honor to welcome you all to this beautiful wisdom. Assalamu alaikum. Okay. So, you are here for this beautiful Wisdom Wednesday. We're so glad to be together for this. And if you're just joining us for the first time, or if you're joining us by our podcast or listening to a recording, Wisdom Wednesday is an offering that is co sponsored between the Marifa Foundation and the Institute of Spiritual Healing. And twice a month, we have the pleasure of getting a beautiful teaching from Dr. Ibrahim Jaffe, Mershid Merabi Ruhi. And he really takes the time to come into this space to really help us all connect even more deeply with the divine, help us to really be with the beautiful love and light and holy light that is present and ready for all of us, how to live from our hearts and navigate in this world. These are little jewels of light that we're so glad to be with you on. May you really drink from them, and may your heart feel nourished and full of life as you listen to what Ibrahim has to share. All of these teachings come from our beautiful Sufi spiritual path, which is a path of healing. And really, they're rooted in these ancient mysticisms that help us to really bring our hearts very close to God, to the divine, and to really be in the deep love and peace that's always present for us. Dr. Ibrahim Jaffe is our fearless leader, our teacher, our guide, our chancellor, and it is such a treat to get to listen to him. So Ibrahim, without further ado, I'd like to turn it over to you.
Okay, good evening or good morning, or people all over the world here. So good something, good day, I guess we could say to everybody. And it's nice to look around. I see lots of beautiful faces that are here, and I'm very happy to just be teaching you tonight. I do want you to know I'm in the hurricane right here. We're actually hitting full on right this minute. So I'm expecting the power to go out anytime. So if I'm teaching and it goes out, I'll try to get back on again through the Verizon network, but I don't know if that will happen or not. All right, so we're going to be talking about tonight about remembering who you are. We're going to be talking about your spirit, and we're going to be talking about the earth journey. And we're going to be talking a little bit about the afterlife and what happens there. So my hope is that I'm going to remind you and remind your spirits of where we're going. So for the new people, we always start with the Fatiha. So everybody close your eyes. I'd like to do the Fatiha as our opening prayer. It's kind of like the Lord's Prayer, or if you're Jewish, it's like the Shema. Basically, this is the Sufi version of that. Okay, so go ahead and close your eyes. And I'll translate it for you as we go, so you know what I'm saying to you. Okay. So A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. I ask for protection from all the little devils out there in the arms of God, and in the name of God, the merciful and the compassionate. I praise you, and I ask you to open the doors for us to know the truth. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Maliki Yawm-Iddin. You, Allah, you, God and Allah are the same. You, Allah, are the one who is the Maliki Yomidin. You are the one who is the king. You are the one who judges what we do. You are the one who knows our walking, knows our secrets, knows our truth. And I turn to you, Maliki Yomidin, Edina Sarata Mustakim, and I ask you to keep me on the straight path. And I ask you, and I turn to worship in you, and I turn to ask you for help. And I ask you to keep me on the straight path, meaning don't let me follow myself. Don't let me follow my ego. Don't let me follow the world. Don't let me follow the creation. Make me better than that. Make me stronger than that. Let me know your truth and let me follow your truth. Yakana Budawa Yakanasta in Adina Saratna Mustakim. Sarata Ladina and Amta Aleihim Ghairil Magdubi Aleihim Waladolin. Amen. 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 So let me follow the straight path. Let me not go astray. Go astray. How do I go astray? By listening to my ego, by listening to my desires, when my desires conflict with truth. And let me not follow and get your wrath. How do I get your wrath? By consciously choosing things that you don't accept, and I know better. By choosing things that will create havoc in our world, that will create pain and suffering in our world. That's how we go astray. So if we look at our world today, everybody, I would say we are astray. Would you not say that? And I would say in many cases, we're more than astray. We're actually gaining God's wrath. And that's really a problem. It's a world problem. And people forget, but we actually are just one people. We are one people. And we are one family. And we are the human race. And actually, we have autonomy over all the birds and the animals and the insects. They all listen to us. We are the what we call the khalifas of our planet. We are here to guide. And we're not doing that. We're not doing that. We're not setting the example. What we're doing is killing each other, destroying each other, hurting each other. We are not caring for each other. And it doesn't matter. You can say I'm this or that. I'm Muslim, I'm Christian, I'm Buddhist, I'm Hindu. You're all human. And it's not okay for us to do that to each other. It's not right. So I think for me, when we try to do things that God is not happy about, God tries to stop it. Why is God doing that? I'm trying to figure that out myself. The problem for me, honestly, is what I call the world complacency. I'm watching the world and nobody cares. It's like we're asleep. People are asleep all over the world. Our leadership is asleep. Everything is going on and nobody says a word. It's barely spoken. And when it is spoken, it gets covered up. It's not, people are not stepping in. And when I think about, Allah is unity, Allah is oneness. He wants brothers and sisters to love each other. So what's Ukraine and Russia? They're brothers. But what are they doing? They're battling each other. They have, well, I was reading the other day, there's over 100,000 Ukrainians, over 100,000 Russians that have been killed in the Ukrainian war. Okay, that's 200,000 people, mostly young, 18, 19-year-olds, that have been killed because the governments decide they want to fight each other. Okay, what's happening in Gaza and Israel? Are Israelis, are the Jewish and the Muslims not brothers? Aren't they brothers under the prophet Abraham? Aren't they brothers? They are brothers. They are brothers. Allah doesn't want brothers killing each other. He wants them loving each other, caring for each other, being kind to each other. And that's not what's happening on our planet. We are killing each other because of concepts and beliefs that we believe to be right. And the world stands by and says nothing. That is a big deal. For me, that is a big deal. And it should be for you too. That is not okay. It is not okay. I don't know if you guys have heard, there's a song that the Cranberries came out with. It was called Zombie. Do you all remember that song, Zombie? It was very famous. It became a kind of a major song for the IRA. The IRA, well, actually, well, I would say the IRA, but it became a song for liberation and for stopping fighting. That was what it was about. Okay, and if you listen to the song, why does she call the people zombies? Because what she's doing is she's watching what happened when she was in London. The IRA decided to blow up something. I don't know what, a bank or some such thing. I can't remember what it was. They decided to blow it up. They gave notice to the English that they were going to blow up this area. So they were trying to protect the people. The English, for whatever reason, did nothing. Two young boys stepped in. They were trying to get flowers for their mother for something or other. The bomb went off and the boys were killed. And she was there and she was crying. And I love what she did. She said, another child is killed, another mother's head hangs low, and we continue to go on and kill each other, and we act like zombies, meaning we're unconscious. We don't stop it. We don't recognize what's going on. For me, I'm not okay with that. I really am not. It's time we wake up. We need to stop this. People need to wake up. And that's my call tonight, is to say out to the world, is to say, please wake up, stand together, stop what's going on. There are ways to work out these things with peace, with love, with mercy. It doesn't have to be done with strategic strikes and missiles and bombs and killing each other. It can be done through negotiations. It can be done through peace treaties. It can be done through mediation. There are other ways to do it. There are other ways to do it. And I hear that people say, yeah, but these people are dangerous, they're animals, they have to be put out of their misery. That's really not true. That's really not true. When people are cared for, they're not animals. When people are given love, they're not animals. When people are cared for, they act like human beings. The answer is in love. The answer is in being human beings. So that's my call to our world today. And I want to just remind people, and I know all of you know this, but I guess I know this is going up on YouTube, so many people are going to be listening to this who don't know us or don't know me and don't know Sufism. However, I want to remind all of you that you have a spirit and a soul. And when you die, that soul will take with it all of the good and all of the bad that you've done. It's in your soul. Okay, now in the monotheistic tradition, which I believe in, I believe that you will have a judgment, and out of that judgment, the decision will be made what happens to your soul. And it'll be based on how you weigh. Do you weigh heavy or do you weigh light? If you weigh heavy and good, you will be lifted up and you'll be brought to a good place. If you weigh heavy and bad, you will end up going down into the fire. Now, for many years, I've always believed that there's a fire. I've always believed in a hell, but only recently did Allah give me the experience of it. I actually saw it for the first time. So in my heart, I know that it's not just a story. It's a reality. It's a place, and it's scary. And I certainly don't want to go there. I don't want any of you to go there. It is not a place you want to go to. Now, some of the Christians say, well, Christ is going to come in and intercede for us, and because of that intercession, we don't have to worry about anything. We're going to be interceded. But I think you've misunderstood. I want you to know that. I think that even if there's intercession, you're still going to be weighed, and you're still going to have a period that you have to be responsible for the choices that you make. You don't just get a free pass. You have responsibility to what you do. Every human being does. It's in our books. We have a book. That book is written I believe it's the Jabarut. Jabarut's the soul world around us. There are two angels. We have an angel on our right shoulder. We have an angel on our left shoulder. The right one writes our good deeds and our good thoughts and our good feelings. And the one on our left writes our evil thoughts, evil deeds, and all those type of things. At the end of the day, that book is weighed. We're weighed. And it comes from that book. So I really think that you should think about those things and not just think that because you're a Christian or you're a Muslim or you're a Buddhist or whatever you might think you are, that you don't have responsibility for the actions that you are taking in your life. You are responsible for them. And those actions either bring good or they bring bad. And your thoughts either bring good or they bring bad. Or your feelings bring good or they bring bad. And those are all written. So please know that. And some of you say, well, we don't believe in that. We believe in past lives. But even if you believe in past lives, if you live a bad life in your own past life ontology, you're going to come back as a worm, or you're going to come back as a, I don't know what, and you're going to have, lifetimes of misery being in that lower state of consciousness. So even if you want to believe in that way, which I personally don't think is right, but if you want to, okay, I'm not going to argue that because people can choose what they feel. But if you want that, you are still setting yourself up for misery and suffering and suffering and suffering and suffering and suffering. Is that what you really want? So again, I want to remind the world that we have a responsibility to follow the good and the beautiful and the healthy and the kind and the loving and the oneness of God. And that's what God is. God wants us to do those things. God is asking us to be those things. God is giving us every possibility in the world to make it. Every possibility in the world to become those good people. We're all being given it. It's right there. I'm a physician. I have sat at the bedside of 1,000 deaths, maybe, in my time as a physician. So I've been there for many, 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 many people as they die. And I've sat. I'm also someone who's been given a gift of having some awareness of these subtle realities. So when people are dying, I'm watching, I'm sitting with them, I'm looking at what's going on there. Okay. And what happens, I can tell you that some people die, and when they die, it's as if trumpets are blown and the soul goes up and the angels come in. And there's something so spectacular that happens for those people. You can't believe it. It's like a, I don't know what you call it, a great victory, let's call it. But that's very rare. I mean, in all the people I've seen die, I've seen that 4 times. Okay. Most of the people that die, they're actually frightened, they're scared. And as they're dying, they're repenting and they're sorry and they're asking for forgiveness and they're asking for the love and they want to see their family. They're sorry that they haven't seen their husbands, their sons, their children. They want to make amends. They want things to be right. They're asking for those things. They're coming from those things. Okay, that's my experience as a doctor. I've been at many deaths. Okay, and most people are asking of that. And those people, when they die, there's a sadness. Like even when they leave the body, I often experience a type of sadness that goes on. There's something incomplete that happens for them. Their lives were not complete. There was something that was missed in their lives. And I feel that. So, and then there's a third group, which I don't see very often. Also, it seems to be the more rare one. But there are some people that when they die, it's like a black cloud covers them. And as they die, your stomach wants to turn in itself, and you want to throw up. And whatever happens in that death, that blackness takes them, and you are sick. You are sick to your core. And when that happens, something very bad is going on with those people. Okay, so we have choice, everybody. We have a choice to live according to God, to truth, to goodness, to love, to beauty, to kindness, to oneness, to peace, or we can live according to our own ego self, according to our desires, what we want, and not think much about the other. Those are probably the middle people. And then we can follow the greed and the hatred and the violence and the darkness and the killing inside of us. And those people will be covered by that black light. So what are you going to choose? That's what I say to you. All of you, say it to myself. What are we choosing? What are we going to choose? Okay. And I think my hope is that we're going to choose the higher road, the high road, the road of light, the road of love, the road of peace, the road of goodness. Now, I've traveled all over the world. I'm quite a traveler. I've been to every continent, been to many, many countries. I've met people from every religion, from paganism through shamanism, through Buddhism, Hinduism, you name it. I've been with all those. I have found good people in all traditions, and I found bad people in all traditions. Okay. So the tradition isn't what drives it. It's what's inside of you, what drives you, what's in your heart. What do you carry inside yourself? What do we carry inside ourselves? Okay. Now, Sufism means purity. It means purity and it means purification. Sufism is about purifying what's inside of your own heart so that your heart carries the real love. That's what Sufism is. Sufism is about purification of the heart, purification of the soul. It's about understanding what God wants. It's about knowing how to follow God's orders. It's knowing how to find the love. That's what Sufism is about. For me, Sufism is the heart of all religions, really. All religions at their core is the heart coming back to unity. All religions is about the heart coming back to love. That's the core of every single religion. Is the heart loving? Is the heart kind? Now, Sufism is about that heart. Sufism is about learning how to make yourself have a beautiful, beautiful heart. Okay. And I want you to know, as someone who has studied other traditions, I studied Buddhism, I meditated for many years, Judaism, Christianity, many religions. I've looked at them, and I want you to know that many people think that when you reach enlightenment, you're free. But I want to tell you that's not exactly accurate, because I had one of my students, and this is after I became Sufi, and she reached the beginning of enlightenment. Her third eye was opening, and she was carrying all the light. She was entering into enlightenment. And then she caught leukemia. She was dying of leukemia. And she called me as she was dying. And she said, I said, well, why are you calling? We hadn't talked for a long time. And she didn't really was not that interested in Sufism. So I said, well, what makes you call me? And she said, I don't know. I just needed to call you. And I said, well, what's going on? She said, well, I think I would reach enlightenment. I think I'm coming into my enlightenment, but I feel terrible inside. And I don't know why, because I thought I was going to feel liberated. I was going to feel like I had reached this high state of consciousness, and I feel terrible inside. And I'm calling you, I guess, to ask did I make a mistake? Have I made a mistake? And when I meditated and prayed about it, while she was on the phone with me, what I saw was that, yes, her mind was opening into the light, but her heart was not. Her heart was not opening into the light. The mind was, she was reaching enlightenment, but her heart was still with herself. And I told her, I said, from my perspective, what we learn in Sufism is Allah looks to your heart. I think you have reached something in your mind, but your heart has not reached the unity. Your heart is not showing the signs of the Shams al-Hakika, the sun of truth. You're showing signs of attachment to the world, attachment to the malakut, the lower dimensions of subtle light. I'm not seeing the freedom in your heart. And she started crying. She was crying, and then it was like a flip. She flipped, and then she started screaming at me, and she started hating me. She started screaming, "How dare you say that to me? How dare you say that to me?" And then she hung up, and then she died 2 days later. So I learned something about that, which is that sometimes enlightenment is not the end of the game either. The end of the game is what's in your heart. Who are you? What's in your heart? What do you carry? So my message to the world is make your hearts pure by God. God is the judge of your hearts. Make your hearts pure. When you hold your heart up to the light of God, does God accept your heart? Does God love what's in your heart? Or does God say, you were attached to the world? You stayed caught in the world. You're caught, and because of that, your judgment is weighing in the wrong direction. You see, so that's why you need to purify your heart, and we have time. We do have time. We have time to do it if we focus on it. It doesn't take more than an hour or 2 hours a day. That's not a lot out of it, 24 hours, to focus an hour a day on your heart, 2 hours a day on we say you're walking. It's not a lot. Not for your afterlife. It's not a lot. So do it. Don't listen to other people. Don't listen to what they say to you. Don't listen to what they tell you. You listen to your own heart. You listen to the truth. You listen to the oneness inside of your own heart. Okay, so Yasmin and I were talking with Salim a little bit ahead of this meeting, and we were talking about the fact that God may be calling you. And how do you know if God is calling you? Well, it's very simple. Here you are. You wouldn't be listening to this, to me speaking, if God wasn't calling you. God is calling you. God is calling you deep inside your heart. That's why you're attracted to be here. That's why you're listening to this. There's something inside of you that says, I want to hear what's being said here. Well, what is that something inside of you? It's your spirit. What is the spirit? It's the inblown breath of God. God, through your spirit, is calling you to come back home. God is saying, don't forget me, come back home. Okay, and the question is, do we listen? Well, the first thing is, hopefully we do. The second thing is, we have to look to our hearts. So when you look in your heart, what do you see inside of your own heart? You have to know yourself. What is inside of your heart? Is it love? Is it oneness? Is it unity? Is it peace? Is it goodness? What's inside of your heart? You have to know that. And please don't make separation, because we're too big of a world now. You can't just say, well, I'm an American and I love the Americans, or I'm a Christian and I love the Christians, and I'm a Jew and I love the Jews, and I'm a Muslim and I love the Muslims. You can't say that anymore. The world is too big. It's too big. We're too connected now. It's too big. We have to make space for everybody. We have to be bigger. We have to be bigger than that. Yes, every religion has its jewel. And I mean that. Every religion has. I love the love of Christianity. It is so beautiful. The love that Christ brought is so spectacular. I love the beauty of Christianity. It is stunning. I love the cleanness of the Torah, the beauty of the Torah, the wonderment in these ancient teachings that came through the Jewish system of being. It's stunning. It's so beautiful. Islam, people today have misunderstood Islam. Islam is so beautiful. It's not what you're seeing out there. And it's not what's being woven in their narratives out there. The real Islam is beautiful. Islam is like the most beautiful jewel you've ever seen. If you see on the inner, you will see a jewel sparkling. It is so clean and so beautiful and so wonderful. If you would recognize it and not listen to what fanatics are doing or people are doing, or what's being told that are happening, you would see the beauty. Islam is beautiful. So we have to be bigger. We have to see the beauty. I see the beauty of Islam. I love it. I see the beauty of Christ. I love Christ. I see the beauty of Judaism. Judaism is stunning, which we can't just say it's the only way. We can't just say it's mine. It's my place. We can't say that. Even, even if the Jews have been promised the Holy Land, which I do believe they were, even if Allah gave them that promise, it doesn't mean that you come in and you displace hundred thousands of people and kill them, torture them. That's not okay. That's not how Allah wants you to have your land. It's done through kindness. It's done through love. It's done through nobility. Where's the nobility? Okay, and again, I don't agree with what the Muslims do either if they blow things up, but at the same time, when you occupy people and you put them behind cages, they do become animals. You have to stop that. You can't occupy people. They have a right to defend themselves too. It has to stop. Across the way, it has to stop. So that's where I stand with these things. And what I would like to see is that the whole world starts to turn directly to God, learns to find the light of God inside their heart, and learns to listen to the guidance and the truth of God as it reveals itself inside of you. Independent of your religion, independent of your country, independent if you're a woman or a man, or black or white or yellow or American Indian, independent of those things. That is what we want to see. We want to see all people turning to love, not to hatred, not to violence, not to killing each other. That has to stop. That's the thing that I'd like to see for all of us. And I'm sorry if I say things that are painful for people. I'm really not political. I'm really trying not to be political at all. But what I really want is that for the politics to stop and for the care and the love between the brothers and the sisters to begin. That's what I really would like to see. And that means we have to have a world outcry. We need the world to speak up. We need the world to say enough. We need the world to say, come together around a table and talk and make peace. It can work if we do it that way. It can work, but we have to try. We have to go in that direction together. Okay. When people stray from that divine alignment, if you look at it, it comes directly from God into your heart. From your heart, it goes into your mind, goes into your soul, goes into your body. When you have divine alignment, your life works in a very good way. When you're out of divine alignment, your life does not work in a good way. The most common reason that we're out of alignment has to do with illness. When we go out of alignment, our bodies reflect it in some way. Okay, so we have to understand when we get sick that that's one of the ways that God is showing us that we've gone out of alignment. It doesn't mean that we're bad or anything else. It means that there's something that we have to learn. We have to learn it. We have to find a way to learn how to be in that alignment. Okay, now in Sufism, we teach you that there are 99 names of God. Okay, and at different levels, there's what we call stations, 7 major stations. The station of the self becoming holy, the station of the heart becoming holy, the station of the soul becoming holy, the station of the spirit becoming holy, the station of the hidden heart becoming holy, the station of the most hidden heart becoming holy, and the station of the descent of the divine presence into the heart for the completion of the human being. Those are the 7 stations that Sufis walk through. Okay. If each of these stations have qualities that are connected to it, there are qualities. The first 2 qualities are Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim, mercy and compassion. That is in the Torah. There are many comments about mercy and compassion in the Torah. It is in the Bible. If you read the Bible, there are many statements about the compassion and mercy of God. If you go into the Quran, there are many statements about the mercy and the compassion of God. The question is, are we merciful and compassionate? Have we become merciful and compassionate? What is compassion? Compassion means like empathy. Do we have empathy for others? Do we carry the empathy for others? Something you see a lot, like when I go, like in a hospital, I see nurses, for example. The nurses have so much compassion. It's like they are outgrowths of compassion. There's so much. They're dealing with disease day after day after day after day after day. And they are serving and serving and serving and serving and serving and serving and serving. When they can't even stand up anymore, they're still serving. This is what you would call compassion. It's a very deep state of empathy. Okay, so the first thing a human being needs to learn is to have empathy. You know who's born with empathy? Who's born with compassion? Women. Women, you have been given a Rahman. It is your birthright. You are given Rahman. Rahman is given to you because you carry the compassion for the world. It is in you. That is why you can, half the time you'll be able to handle 3 kids running around, and you put the husband in there, and he's like 20 minutes, and he's get me out of here. I got to go back to work. He doesn't have the compassion to hold those children because Allah put the compassion in you. That's why in Sufism, the name of the womb is almost the same as Rahman. The womb and the womb is the place of Rahma. It's the place where you are given your compassion. A woman, you are the compassion. You carry it in your being. You are beyond necessary. It is your job to hold the compassion for the world. It is in you. You don't have to look for it. It's in you. You just have to express it. It's inside of you. That is the value of women. Women, you are given a gift. Men are not given what you got in that place. You have something very, very special. You have to know that. But then again, it's then as compassion, we have to be compassionate, meaning we have to, it's like the whole world is like our children. We have to be kind to all children. And that's your role, to really spread the compassion on the planet. That's really what you have. It's a beautiful role that you have, in my opinion. So the woman, she carries Rahman. She carries Ar-Rahman, the compassion. Ar-Rahim. What is Rahim? The mercy. What is mercy? Mercy essentially means that when people hurt you, you forgive them. Okay, so mercy means that when people do wrong to you, you have a choice. You could, judge. The judge could say, oh, you did something wrong. I'm going to send you to prison the rest of your life. But the judge says, no, I'm merciful. I'm not going to send you to prison. I'm going to not send you to prison. That's mercy. I'm going to give you something because you're a good man or a good woman, and I'm going to give it to you. It's my decision to give it to you. When I speak to the judges in courts, what we learn is they respond very much to their sense of whether or not the person has learned their lessons. If a judge feels like you really got it, the judge generally will give you mercy. Okay, if they feel it. Now, not all judges. There are judges that are just robots too, but there are many that actually respond. And how does the judge give you mercy? The judge needs to know that you have sought understanding and forgiveness and repentance for what you did. Okay, we had a man who was selling drugs. He was the son of one of our beloveds, and he was a young man. He was in his 20s. Then he got caught. He was selling drugs to high school kids, hard drugs. He got caught, and they threw him into prison. Okay, and as the U.S. court system goes, he was in prison for, I don't know what, 3-4 years before it ever came to court. So during that time, eventually his mother called me and she said, could you work with my son? Because I feel like he is not understanding his mistakes. And I think he may end up having a hard prison. They were looking at making him an example. They're going to give him 30 years without parole. So I said, sure. So I met the son, and when I asked him about the drugs, he was like, oh, I don't know anything. I don't care. I didn't do anything. It's not my fault, and he just had a whole story. The story went on for a very long time. Well, we worked together, not a lot. We did maybe 7-8 sessions, hour apiece. And about the third session, he started to realize why the drugs were bad for those kids. He saw what they were doing to their life. He got it. And around the 5th session or 6th session, he made tauba. He said, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And he broke down crying. He was sobbing on the phone. And as he sobbed on the phone, the light of mercy came down above him, and it was like a pure holy light, and it filled his being. He was on the floor sobbing, and the mercy flowed in him and washed him and cleaned him and went through his face and through his head and every single place in his body. It was so powerful. I couldn't believe it. It was one of the most powerful descents I'd ever seen of light. Well, he actually ended up going to court 2 days later. So he goes into the courtroom, and the judge looks at him. And I don't know what the judge saw. I'm not the judge. I wasn't there. But the judge looked at him. This is a story of what I heard. The judge looked at him for a while, and the judge said, "I see that you've learned your lesson. I see that you've repented for what you did." The judge said it. "Therefore, I know that I'm being pressured to put you in jail for 30 years and make an example of you, but I see a man who's learned. Therefore, I'm going to give you 1 year of house arrest. Don't break your parole. And if you don't break your parole, you're free." And that was the end of it. Okay, that's mercy. That is mercy. Okay, so as human beings, those are two of I always say that the first two qualities we have to learn are compassion and mercy. And the third quality is love. You have to carry love in your heart. Is love inside of your heart? Are you carrying love in your heart? So for me, for many years, no matter what I did, at the end of the day, I would look at my life and I'd go back and I'd say, did I act from love? Did I act from love? And I'd think about what happened in the day. How did I talk to people? What were my actions? How did I treat my children? How did I treat my pets? How did I treat my students? As a doctor, how did I treat my patients? And I would look at it and I would weigh myself and I'd say, okay, well, you know what? I wasn't loving, I was impatient, I was tired, I was, something wasn't right inside of me, and I would correct it. And I wouldn't just correct it by changing my action. I would say, well, why was I not loving? Because I wasn't patient, because I was impatient. I had too many people. And I realized, okay, I need to become more patient. How do I become more patient? And I worked on it and I learned it and I became more patient. And then when at the end of the day would come, I would say, you know what? I saw 40 people today and I cared for every one of them with as much integrity as I could. And when I finished the day, I felt good. And then as a Sufi, at the end of the day, I would say, is Allah happy with me? Is God happy with me with my day? God, are you happy with me? I would ask that question, and I always got an answer. Always. I always knew if God was happy with me or not happy with me. And if he wasn't happy with me, which was enough of the time, I'd say, why? Why are you not happy? Well, you didn't speak clearly. You spoke with too much strength. You hurt that person's heart. You weren't caring enough for them. You didn't give them enough love. Were you not sensitive to their needs? Why didn't you see the needs of that person? Why didn't you be at their feet? Why were you talking in the other direction? Those things would come, and I would hear those things, and I'd say, you know what? You're right. I wasn't at their feet. I didn't serve them. I was serving myself. I wanted to get to lunch. I was serving my stomach. I wasn't caring for the people enough. And I sat down and I said, okay, how do I clear that? How do I clear it in myself? And I learned how to do it. That's what I believe we all need to do. So love is a very important part of what we do. All right. So I know I'm going on a long time here, and I guess I can wrap it up. But what I guess the summary is as follows. If we don't return to God, if we don't understand that there is divine will, divine light, divine love, and that we are obligated to it, we are going to destroy ourselves. And I mean that. We're at a very critical point of human evolution. We could destroy ourselves very easily right now. It is all human beings' responsibility to make their hearts full of love and mercy and compassion, and to get rid of hatred and violence and negativity inside of them. It's all human beings' responsibilities. And I don't care who you are, what your religion is, what your choices are. It's all human beings. And personally, the only way that I have seen, and I meditated, like I said, for 20 years, I did Vipassana meditation. I could sit quietly, almost thoughtless for hours. It did not teach me mercy and compassion in my heart. Mercy and compassion is a gift that comes directly with God. When you're in the presence of God, God sends mercy and compassion in your heart. So we have to learn to be with God, to receive the mercy and compassion, and learn how to give that to other people. If we do that, the earth will become a paradise. We will become a paradise. And that's the goal. We should make this earth a paradise. This can be heaven on earth right here, but it will happen when our hearts become heaven, when our hearts become full of love and mercy and peace and compassion and kindness and goodness. Okay, so that's my summary. And going forward, all the talks that I'll be doing essentially will be about how we learn to transform our hearts and how to hold the love and the mercy and the kindness and the goodness. What's God asking from us? How do we hear what God wants? How do we understand it? Don't put somebody between you and God. And I mean that. Don't put someone between you and God. Don't put me between you and God. Don't put anybody between you and God. You are responsible for your own relationship to the divinity yourself. Put yourself in the presence of God and learn to be with it. That is the most important thing. Okay. So I guess I'm about on time here. How about that, Yasmin? And so any questions or thoughts or whatever you want, share whatever you feel. You hated my talk, tell me. You love my talk, okay? I'm grateful. Whatever you have to say, let me know where you are and or anything you want to share, and I'm happy to have it. And I know sometimes it's the people who are more outgoing who like to speak. But I would also ask those of you who are actually a little shyer to also take your chance and raise your hands and jump in, because a lot of times you have a lot to say, and I really like to hear the things you have to say. Okay, so Nandita, go ahead, you're up. Nandita, you have to unmute yourself, and you got your thing on there.
Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Jaffe.
Walaikum salam, Nandita.
It was a beautiful talk on the value of compassion, mercy, and love. And I have been going through a difficult personal situation in the last few weeks, and I had a question about that
Okay.
and about my role in that. So my son is a psychologist, and his girlfriend is doing PhD in neuroscience, and she had a mental breakdown. It was a very difficult one. Looks like she's returning now, but I just wanted to know what is my role here in this, and was I able to hold the space correctly for them?
Well, what is holding a space of healing? You have to hold a space of healing, right? And healing means essentially that you're holding your arms out like this and you're opening the space for love and peace and mercy, but also for truth. So the way, what actually is a source of healing is getting to the truth. So if a person has a mental breakdown or they have some kind of break like that, there's something inside of them that is in conflict. People's minds break when they have conflicts inside their minds, and they can't resolve it, and it breaks the mind, and then they become schizophrenic or psychotic, whatever happens out of it. So if you want that to heal, you have to hold the space to get to the conflicts of what's going on, and it may not be pretty, I don't know, who knows what's going on inside of that person. You don't really know. You never know. We had a boy came to us. He was 17 years old. He was dying of an astrocytoma, which was a brain tumor in the back of his head. And parents were with him in the room with me, and they said, "My son is the most beautiful son. He's always doing good. He's always kind. He's a wonderful kid." And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, but he's got a brain tumor. There's something we're missing here. So I asked the parents to leave. They stepped out of the room. I said, "Come on, tell me the truth now, because I know your parents say you're a wonderful kid, but what's really the truth? What's going on in your brain? What's going on in your mind?" And he said, "Okay, I'll tell you the truth, because my parents can't hear it. I hate people. I want to kill people. I dream about it all the time. That's all I want to do. And the conflict between the part of him wanting to be good and the part of him that wanted to destroy was so powerful that a brain tumor was formed inside of his brain.
Yeah, and she has been talking about a very difficult childhood and many difficult things which happened in her childhood. And they had just recently decided that they're going to get married, and that triggered the whole thing. When she was thinking of becoming a mother and all of that, that triggered the thing.
Okay, so maybe she doesn't feel able to carry the role of motherhood. She wants it, maybe he wants it, but when she feels herself stepping in, she realizes that she hasn't healed her own inner child. And the thought of raising another child pushed her over the top. She couldn't handle it.
Yeah, that's what I felt.
Yeah. So we need to help her. She needs to heal her childhood so that she can be a mother.
Thank you.
Okay, welcome. All right, let's go back to all right, Iman, ZC Iman, go ahead.
Assalamualaikum. I'm just going to turn on the light. Sorry, it's a bit late here. I just wanted to ask with regards to what God wants us to learn. Because currently I feel like my family and I are going through a very difficult time because yesterday something happened with regards to a law and security situation here. My brother got involved in a legal matter, and it's just a really painful situation which I don't know how to handle, and which my family members also don't know how to handle, especially keeping the environment here. So I'm really wondering what God wants us to learn here and how we can help ourselves and ensure our own security and protection, even keeping in mind that my brother was involved. But my brother is also severely mentally and emotionally compromised. He has neurosis, which is a neuro disorder. So he's not aware of his own actions, and no one else knows that, and it's on video and people don't know that, and it's just becoming a very difficult situation. I don't know how to handle that, and I don't know how to ask. I would also appreciate some prayers, because I would really really request Allah to help us through this safely, for everyone concerned.
Okay, well, I think, the first thing is follow the truth. Look, the truth is your brother is compromised.
Yeah.
Truth is that you and others, your family, may not know how to deal with what's going on in him. You're not necessarily, professionals. And even if you were, many professionals don't know what to do with things like this.
Yeah.
So follow the truth. The truth is he's compromised. The truth is he didn't really know what he's doing. The truth is that we're doing everything we can to support him. Stay with the truth.
Okay. So even to protect ourselves from now, I mean, the other side's become pretty aggressive.
Yeah, but if you look at the other side, they're not, if they were with Allah, they would be merciful and kind, and they would try to understand what happened, and they would work for unity. They're not. They're working for revenge and avenging and attacking, and that's all from, the shaitan. It's all from the darkness. That's not okay. Okay, so you stand in the truth and be gentle and be loving and apologize for whatever mistakes were made. Try to make things right. And with God's help, inshallah, with God's help, things will shift and Allah will change their hearts and soften their hearts.
Inshallah, I would appreciate some prayers for the safety of my family and myself as
Okay,
well.
let's all sit together. Group prayer is very powerful, so let's all pray and ask the Most High to send the protection to this beloved Iman and her family and the brother, to bring love and peace and unity and forgiveness, so that all of us can be together as a family and not anything other than that. Please, Allah, please help all of us, and please help this family particularly. Everyone, please
Ameen.
make a prayer for everybody.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Everyone, thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. Okay, I think we can maybe take one more and then that will be it for tonight. Akila, you want to go next? Okay, you have to unmute yourself. You're muted as well.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I do.
I'm trying to bring my husband and my son closer, and it's been many, many years because of some childhood traumas and all that. My son is very much hurt, and the father is not admitting what was done. My husband is a religious man, but all my son wants is for him to admit what he did and heal. So I'm like in the middle.
Yeah.
And I'm trying my best.
Well, at the end of the day, for you, if I speak to you, teach and reveal compassion, make tauba. You know what tauba is?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, make tauba for your husband, make tauba for your family. And, you hold the light of love, you hold the light of mercy and compassion, the light of truth, and just keep knocking on the door. And remember, when people are ashamed of what they've done, or they know they're guilty about what they've done, they're protecting themselves. They're afraid that if they come
Yes.
out, they're gonna, something bad's gonna happen. They have to protect themselves. It's not for law. So you have to help them know that there's a safe place for them to come out and to heal. Not be the ones who say, "Oh, we got to be vindictive here. We've got to, we need to heal. We need to find a place of mercy and compassion that allows the healing to happen." And you have to carry that yourself.
Yes, like I've been doing Astaghfar and Ayat Karima. I'm from a Sufi family myself, grew up. And at this point, like I'm trying to make him understand, the healing process. We are at that age. And my son got away because of all this, No, I will be talking to him soon.
Yeah, you're more powerful than you realize. Like I don't think you realize that you can make change in your family. Like when I feel it, you're trying, but you don't know it yet.
Yeah,
Like,
I don't know. I've been praying. I even do the tahajjud namaz. So we with Allah for guidance all
yeah.
the time.
Yeah, you have to, it's in a way you're keeping them out here and you're trying to heal them out here. And the answer is going to be, you're going to have to take them in here and love them in here so that the healing can happen.
Yes, I will. Thank you.
Okay. All right, everyone. Just so you know, I think we're at time. We're going to take a 15-minute break. Yasmin or Salim? I'm not sure who's actually.
Yeah, that would be me, Ibrahim Salima. So thank you for another beautiful and profound teaching and taking our questions tonight. For those who would like to continue on with kind of a post-teaching discussion and Q&A session through our Sufi Circle membership, you're welcome to do that. I put it in the chat earlier and I'm going to send it again right now. And for those who are already part of Sufi Circle, we are going to take a 15-minute break. And then there is a second Zoom link that should have been sent to you earlier today. And you'll want to use that second Zoom link to get on for the special Q&A with Ibrahim. So we'll see you in 15 minutes. And thank you everyone for joining us tonight. Always so beautiful to be with you. Our next Wisdom Wednesdays class will be next Wednesday, actually, October 16th. So we'll look forward to seeing you. Thank you so much. Anything else, Ibrahim, or are we ready to close up?
I think we're good. Thank you, everyone. And thank you for listening. And let's create a peace movement that brings love into the world and honors the hearts of all people and respects it through love. And then we can really have our scales weigh heavy and good, everyone. All right, salam alaikum, everyone. Thank you.